answer.
Morelli was so sensational in qualifying that I think he must be the favourite. I mean, half a second ahead of the rest. It's just been sensational from him all weekend so far. But now this is where the pressure is on. He's going to want that second position, and it's his last opportunity to do so, really, in this final round in the FIM Junior GP World Championship. What about yourself, Chris?
Well, I was just about to say, Connor, doesn't it feel so much better now to be off the fence and more relaxed? But I couldn't possibly give you a winner. No, Morelli has to be the favourite here, but you can't write off Brian Uriarte, who is just a mega talent at this level. The battle for that top 3 could throw up a couple of interesting rides, but I'll have to go with Marco Morelli as well. He was just so impressive in qualifying. But we know Junior GP is ever so unpredictable. If nobody breaks away, then it's anybody's race. However, Morelli and Uriarte both have form of breaking away, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on them over the opening laps. Aizen on the number 97, the Argentinian going from pole in the first of 2 Junior GP races. The number 54, Jesus Rios, going from the middle of the front row, and the 51 of Brian Uriarte on the outside of the front row. And away go the lights. Revs are rising, and we are racing in Valencia. It's a superb start from Brian Uriarte, who goes straight into second place. But Morelli has got the dream launch from pole position and the whole shot. David Gonzalez is about to throw one up the inside to get himself into the top 5. But what a launch from Marco Morelli. He's already opened up a little. But 2 bike lanes, 3 bike lanes. Well, Jesus Rios is going backwards. He's trying to fight back now against Joel Esteban, I think it is. Yeah, Esteban got away really well there, but Rios just managed to catch up again there. But great start from Esteban. He pulled up to P3 for a while there, but we'll be seeing that battle with Rios, I think, throughout this race. Yeah, absolutely sensational start from Morelli. Jesus Rios has recovered the podium position then from Joel Esteban. Uriarte slots into second, so they've all gone a little bit wide there. However, there is no green, so it's allowed. Number 97, Marco Morelli, then, is going to try and break away early here, just like he did in Barcelona. But Brian Uriarte is looking to get the hooks into him as well, and does not want to let the Argentinian run away with this. And the front 2 have opened up a big gap already to the rest of the field. Now, it is only lap 1 and there is a long way to go, but we have seen both of these riders have form in getting away from the rest of the field. It's Jesus Rios then over Joel Esteban, while next up, I think it is Rico Salmela, who is there. David Gonzalez there. Going on the outside. Is he going to make that one stick? I don't think he's going to. Never mind. Joel Esteban's got to go back on the inside. Brilliant stuff from David Gonzalez. Yeah, absolutely sensational from Gonzalez there. But these riders behind the front 2 are going to have to work together and not allow them to escape too early. And as you mentioned there, Marco Morelli is soaring ahead, and Brian Uriarte is not too far behind, and this battle between Esteban and Gonzalez could prove very costly to their chances of finishing on the podium. A number of riders going very Ruth getting involved there as well. At turn 1. Well, this is all playing into the hands of Morelli out front. He's got, after 1 lap, Connor, a 1.4 second advantage over Jesus Rios in 3rd position, and 0.7 of a second over Brian Uriarte in 2nd. So this is what we were saying all morning. Yeah. Morelli has been a class above here in Valencia this time out, and he's showing it time and time again in every single session. Marco Morelli has been absolutely sensational there. A bit of a wobble there, a bit further back. Yeah, absolutely. Morelli showing his qualifying pace here then was no one-off fluke. He is flying here in Valencia as they come through turns 9 and 10. Brian Uriarte and Jesus Rios have settled into P2, P3, but behind them, it's all chopping and changing. Casey O'Gorman working his way through there on, I believe, was it Joel Esteban? Oh, David Gonzalez, who's going backwards. He finished that last lap in P4. Yeah, David Gonzalez was battling. We've got yellow flags to turn 11, but Gonzalez was outside that top 4 with Esteban, and he is pushing himself, going the wrong way here. He's got Leonardo Zani of the FI Network Mirror team in that pink helmet all over his rear wheel. Then there's a little bit of a gap back to the likes of Veda Pratama and Hakim Danish. Yeah, not looking too thrilled in that Aspar box there. Rico Salmela then pulls up alongside the number 10 of Adrian Cruces, and drives up the inside. Is that who have we lost here? Yeah, well, disappointment. Yeah, I believe that is Christian Daniel.
Yeah.
The number 70 out of this race. Disappointment then for the young rider.
Yeah, he's tremendously frustrated.
Yeah, that's another DNF for him this season. He's had quite a few. Yet to score a point, I think, by my reckoning. So hopefully he will be back in race 2 and get himself among the top 15.
Rios seems to have got a bit closer here to Brian Uriarte. That's very, very interesting to see. Rios pulling away as well now, not allowing these front two any measure of comfort.
Yeah, Uriarte is now 1.2 seconds behind, and it's about to get worse because Jesus Rios makes the move. Brilliant stuff from Jesus Rios, and that puts him into 2nd position, and I believe into the bronze medal position. It should. I'm not going to trust my maths, but
wait until T-Veda actually gives us the stats.
Yeah. So Marco Morelli then looking to seal silver, but the battle for bronze is very much alive. Brian Uriarte, we're not used to seeing this from him. It looks like he'll just have to settle in behind the number 54 here for a little while. Rios seems to have the superior pace. Is he going to make a move coming into turn 1? Yeah, what do I know, Connor? Never mind settling in. Uriarte fights right back, but goes wide
very
again.
Wide there.
Time and time again, we've been seeing this. We saw it as well in the MotoGP finale as well. Riders just running it wide at turn 1 plenty of times. So, a battle for 2nd and 3rd here, which is music to the ears of Marco Morelli. He's now got a 2-second advantage over Rios and Uriarte, and what, 3 laps in, 3.5 laps in almost. Huge advantage for the Argentinian.
And it's what we saw in Barcelona as well. Morelli really displaying the talent that he's got. He's really come into his own in the second half of this season. It looked like adapting from the ETC wasn't coming too easily for him at the beginning of this campaign in 2025. Wasn't getting the results that maybe we expected, but come the second half of this season, from the race 2 in Aragon, he's been on the podium 4 times in 5 races, including that win in Misano and of course in Catalonia last time out. So absolutely fantastic stuff. Something just clicked in that garage for Marco Morelli, and
yeah, well, of course there were some behind-the-scenes changes at the M-Lab squad after the opening couple of rounds as a long lap is confirmed for Leonardo Abruzzo. He had that one coming into this race, of course. But yeah, the behind-the-scenes changes of the crew chief of Franco Vicente, brought over from the MTI MSI helmet squad, of course, has plenty of experience with Ayagura, has clearly had a positive effect as Uriarte and Rios battle again going through turn 1. It's Rios holds on to 2nd position, but going back onto Morelli, the uptick in his fortune seems to coincide with the introduction of Franco Vicente into the garage. So good to see it's having the positive effect, because we've always known, as you said, Morelli is a fast rider. We saw that in ETC. He battled with Carlos Cano, of course. We saw Emilio Alzamora on screen just there, one of Alzamora's other riders in the European Talent Cup. The reigning ETC champion is Carlos Cano. He won it in 2024. Morelli came 2nd, and we saw the talent that he was. And now that is translating into Junior GP, and of course the Aspar team, known for picking and plucking the very best talents.
Absolutely.
You look at Max Quiles has been there, David Alonso is there, Danny Olgado had a stint there as well, currently having a stint there in Moto2. Morelli is going to go into that environment, and you would have to say, or have to hope, that all the ingredients are there for him to thrive in that paddock in Moto3 World Championship, as the Australian Galicias now go side by side. We're watching Rico Salmela and Casey O'Gorman, both of whom started on the 3rd and 4th row. Salmela P8, Casey O'Gorman at the head of the 4th. It's Salmela who does hold the advantage for P4 as things stand, but it looks like there might be a little move coming up here. Well, we see Uriarte reclaim 2nd place from Rios. Salmela seems to have held on to 4th as we get another shot of the 72 art box team, and O'Gorman now has made that move through on his teammate Sal Mela. So it's Uriarte in second place ahead of Jesus Rios, Casey O'Gorman ahead of Rico Salmela, and Joel Esteban in sixth.
Yeah, these two Estrella Galicia riders really ought to start working together now to try and reel in Rios and Uriarte at least. I mean, for the time being, barring anything sensational, Marco Morelli is running away with this, at least 3 seconds ahead.
Yeah, Marco Morelli is on another planet right now. He has been for the majority of this weekend. He was, of course, on another planet to everybody else in race 2 in Barcelona. He only just missed out on the race. He came fourth, but he just missed out on the race victory in race 1, of course, up in the Sirkuit Barcelona-Catalunya, with Jesus Rios pulling off a last lap move and Morelli allowing some of the other riders to barge on through. As Casey O'Gorman has a little look down there. Something's got position. He was running in fourth just a couple ago. He ran it wide coming out of, was that turn 12, I think, and he had a little look down to his right hand side. So is there an issue? So here we go, the standings. See, Uriarte, of course, the champion, but Morelli will take second place if things remain as they are. Rico Salmela is still holding out to third position with his P4, but Joel Esteban is right behind him in both the race and the championship standings, and they all run wide there. Is that going to shake things up? Not quite, as they all hold on to their positions, but it looks like second is going to be wrapped up, provided there are no frills and no dangers for Marco Morelli, and then the battle for bronze will go down to the season finale later this afternoon. Something that could shake things up is a long lap penalty for Rico Salmela there. See what that does to this race with 10 laps to go. That is going to change things up. We've also got a yellow flag back at turn 2. We'll bring you an update of who has gone down there or gone wide once we know. It's a long lap. Rico Salmela, he's running in fourth position, currently P3 in the championship standings, but that would drop him behind the likes of Joel Esteban and further away from Rios and Morelli, so he would lose that bronze medal position unless he comes out of the long lap penalty. He would then need quite the comeback ride to get himself back into the top 3 positions by the end of this race. Leo Rammersdorfer then unfortunately out of this race. Yeah, tremendous frustration for him. And we are back at the Uriarte, who is still engaged in this battle with Rios. It's going to be very interesting to see a bit further back exactly where Salmela does end up, and it does mean that his chances of getting that all important but ever elusive win, well, there's a real dent in the possibility of that for Salmela as he bids goodbye to Junior GP ahead of his move to the Moto3 World Championship. Yeah, Asian rider, another rider who's going to make the step up to Moto3 next season, leading Giulio Pugliese, Zen Matani, Sullivan Mounty in that group of 4. Zen Matani, of course, will also step up to Moto3 with the Honda Team Asia next season. 2 very, very talented riders coming from Asia. Zen Matani, pretty impressive in his appearances Moto3 Championship this season. Rico Salmela pulls out into the long lap penalty. Yeah, well, it looks like he's gotten through no problems. It wasn't the smoothest of efforts, but that has dropped him back to 8th position behind Leonardo Zani. So that will move Joel Esteban. There you have it, Joel Esteban into 3rd, 3 points ahead of Rico Salmela. So they're not much in it, it has to be said, and if Salmela can display some of the pace he's already shown, you would imagine he can find his way back towards the top 5. Long way to go in this race, yes, as we clock off another lap. 8 to go, to be a little bit more precise. Rico Salmela then hunting down Leonardo Zani just ahead of him for P7. Are we going to see a move coming into turn 2? I think we are, and the Flying Finn sails through. I think we have to confirm as well, Casey O'Gorman has retired now, which will be tremendously frustrating for him. Yeah, frustrating few moments then for the Australia Galicia team. particularly the two riders. Oh, Rico Salmela. He will be, of course, among those podium contenders, it has to be said. Marco Morelli, though, will anybody be able to catch him? Never mind in this race. And what about this afternoon as well? Morelli is just on another planet here, just racking off 1:37.1 last time, 6/10 quicker than Brian Uriarte. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, it really is. Morelli, we've been praising him all morning, and I don't think you can give him any more plaudits than what we have done already. He's finally broken that 4-second gap mark as well, so
it's almost to the point now with Morelli of Uriarte romped home to this year's Junior GP Championship and did the Rookies Cup double. And let's not make no mistakes, Uriarte is a phenomenally talented rider. We've seen that in European Talent Cup. We saw it in Junior GP last year when he stepped up and immediately took wins, podiums, and was constantly challenging, and he just continued his progression. But it's
David Alonso, hello.
There's David Alonso in as well, but it's almost a case of what could have been this year for the MLab squad as Rios does go through on Uriarte. As Morelli, his recent form has just simply been sensational and unrivaled.
Yeah, it's been absolutely scintillating. And I wonder if he thinks that maybe if some changes had been made earlier, he could have been standing on that top step of the podium more often and more frequently, which would have been the most important thing at the beginning of the season, ahead of Uriarte.
Yeah, I mean, when you compare his form across the first 5 races to the last 5, the first 5 saw him P7, P8, P13, P5, P9. Very, very respectable for a rookie, it has to be said. Brilliant, brilliant race, particularly P5 and Magny-Cours. And then he got that podium in Aragon, and it seems to have all just clicked. P3 in race 2 in Aragon, P1 Misano, P3 Misano, P4 in Catalonia, but only just missed out. He was in the race lead until the final corner, and then he went and got that win in Barcelona, and he looks dead set here. 4.2 second advantage in a Junior GP race, and he's dead set here for another race win. There is no plan B for Marco Morelli. Plan A seems to be working pretty well for the Argentinian.
Yeah, Brian Uriarte now ahead of Jesus Rios again.
Yeah, I think we were just thrown a little bit by the graphics on the left-hand side. Nearly caught us out, but don't worry. Brian Uriarte and Jesus Rios, as they have been for the majority of this race, still battling for P2. 4.5 seconds or so behind Marco Morelli.
Which, as we mentioned earlier, is costly to both of their opportunities to finish on that top step. If they weren't battling so much, maybe they'll be able to keep up with the pace that Marco Morelli is setting. Unlikely, given the velocity that the Argentinian is displaying on track here in Valencia.
Aside from the honour of finishing P2 as well, which both riders will want to do as they are competitors, it would be more valuable in the context of the championship, of course, to Jesus Rios, who is hoping to get himself among those medal positions. He's 11 points behind Rico Salmela coming into this race. I'm not going to do the quick maths in my head because I have feet. And Esteban is running in P4 and under pressure here, it has to be said, from both David Gonzalez and Adrian Cruces, and the pressure does tell. David Gonzalez does take P4 off the hands of Esteban, so that will affect that battle for bronze medal, and Jesus Rios is gaining ground on both Rico Salmela and Joel Esteban, who he started 11 and 9 points behind before lights out went on this race. So if he can get himself up into P2, there's 4 points on offer here, as well, of course, as the silver podium second place finish. But 4 big points, it would have to be said, to get himself into the battle for bronze and make it a real 3-way shootout in race 2. Joel Esteban, is he going to fight back here on David Gonzalez? Nothing going for him through turn 4 nor turn 5. What about turn 6? Angel Nieto corner. Are we going to see the 78 dive up the inside? No, he's too far back, so nothing going. It looks like Gonzalez just has this one covered. There are more opportunities coming up. Nothing yet, but Brian Uriarte going to fire up the inside of Jesus Rios. This is a great battle, and I tell you what, Connor, if these two keep taking chunks out of each other, this battle for P2 and P3 between two riders could potentially become a 5-rider shootout.
Oh, there goes Rios on the inside there. Absolutely it could, and don't rule out Adrian Cruz as well, who was just behind David Gonzalez and Joel Esteban there. Very much biding his time to make his move, but on a circuit as complicated as this one, so difficult to make overtakes, you also are awaiting any errors to pounce upon by your rivals on track.
Yeah, currently these two advantage over the trio of riders behind them. And we'll take a look at the lap times coming over. 8 flat, 138.1 from Rios and Uriarte as Uriarte fires himself back in. And then 137.8, 137.7. So similar lap times from. So that's not going to help the chasing group behind though, as they all run it wide. So maybe they just don't have the pace as they keep taking chunks out of each other as well.
137s alongside Marco Morelli. So despite that long lap penalty, he's going to be edging closer and closer to this group who are battling it out for P3 and could very much still stand on the podium with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, and almost as if to emphasize your point, just a moment ago it was impossible to keep Marco Morelli in the same shot. We had a brilliant shot coming through 9 and 10 thereof, which really just underscored and highlighted the difference between the riders here in race 1. There we go, another one, the number 97 already approaching turn 1 as the rest of the field come out of the final corner. Morelli then, 3 laps to go. He can not ease off, but he can take it steady and make sure there are no mistakes as he looks to deliver another victory in the Junior GP campaign and wrap up the silver medal in this year's championship. Taking a look at some of the other riders coming across, that's the number 13, Hakim Danish, riding in a lonely 9th place. Veda Pratama then at the head of this group with Pugliese, Matani and Mounsey.
Yeah, the battle further back. It was always going to be tougher when you're in the middle of the pack to try and get out of it, try and pull away, but looks like they've settled into a bit of a rhythm, these riders further back. Now they're engaged in their own battle. We also saw Adrian Cruz there make his move earlier on David Gonzalez. He's now moved up to P5 and is now chasing Joel Esteban for P4.
Yeah, an excellent outing this weekend from Cruzes, who has had plenty of experience riding different bikes. So to come here in the Junior GP category in the final weekend and put in a performance like this is pretty stellar stuff before he moves up to the Moto3 World Championship next season. And we're going to see a move here. Dodo Baggio and Enzo Ballon battling here for the final point scoring place.
But anyone in this group could claim that P15.
Yeah, exactly.
There is
Marco Morelli already done with another lap.
4 seconds until anyone else appears on the screen. That's the extent to which Marco Morelli is running away with this opening race in Junior GP here in Valencia.
Yeah, sensational stuff. Rios leads over the line out of the final corner, but as we've seen a couple times already, Brian Uriarte dives up the inside into turn 1. Joel Esteban still at the head of this group. Well, Adrian Cruz did, of course, make a move, but Esteban has regained that. Rico Salmela then in the background, the number 27, served a long lap penalty. And just looks to be closing in, but it might just be a little bit too late for him to make a move on these guys ahead of him. He's got about a second or so to catch Leonardo Zani ahead of him and Adrian Cruzes. Excuse me, not Zani, Adrian Cruzes and David Gonzalez. Leonardo Zani running behind Salmela, the number 57 in P8. So a reminder then that this battle for P4 does have some larger consequences. Joel Esteban currently sits in the bronze medal position, but if he was to concede some points, chiefly to the riders behind him, Rico Salmela,
he is getting a lot closer, isn't he?
You visibly see it. Rico Salmela came into this race in that bronze medal position, and I think there are currently 3 points separating them. So any switches here could have larger consequences in the context of the title race. So championship standings, David Gonzalez, is he going to make a little move? Indeed, there's only 2 points behind them rather than 3. So any move is crucial, and David Gonzalez is making one. Has he made that one stick? He has indeed. So now there's just 1 point between them. Scratch that, because Adrian Cruzes has also gone through on Joel Esteban. What about at turn 1? Brian Uriarte's gone back in front of Jesus Rios. 2 abreast. Cruces now leading. Esteban out of shape there coming into turn 1, but manages to stop it. Not in, still goes a little bit wide, but holds on to 4th position. And all this has brought Rico Salmela back into play, and he has picked off Adrian Cruces for 5th position.
Yeah, this is chopping and changing all the time, both on our timesheets and in the live championship. Rios there moving up to P2 briefly, so we'll have to wait and see exactly what goes on in this final lap, but this is going to be exciting from start to finish, Chris.
Yeah, 2 big battles unfolding here on the last lap. The battle for the podium and the battle for 4th, which has consequences in the championship standing. So Rios is in P2 and Esteban leads this battle. Rico Salmela is in 6th with David Gonzalez sandwiched in between them. Adrian Cruces in tow as well. Will these riders make a move late on? There are a couple opportunities left, but it's Esteban who cruises around 9 and 10 with the advantage. What about in the battle for 2nd? It looks like Rios still leads over Uriarte, but you better believe there is going to be a move coming. Marco Morelli has got this one sewn up. He's coming around the final corner and he is going to win. What about here? There's a few riders wide. Look at Rico Salmela. He goes into 5th position with a ballsy move past David Gonzalez, the number 97. No frills on him. He is brilliant today and he takes back-to-back victories. Who is going to take 2nd place? Is it Rios? Is it Uriarte? It's going to be a photo finish. It looks like it's Uriarte and Joel Esteban Gonzalez. It's Rico Salmela who gets 4th position ahead of David Gonzalez, and Joel Esteban, after all of that, is shuffled back to 6th position. So, catch your breath. Brilliant last lap. Marco Morelli wins in emphatic fashion, 6.1 seconds over his closest contender, which was Brian Uriarte, who had 9 thousandths of a second to spare over Jesus Rios in that battle for P2. It all came up trumps for Rico Salmela in the battle for bronze. Rios losing out on 4 crucial points, and Salmela made a last corner move on David Gonzalez, Joel Esteban to pinch P4. Gonzalez 5th and Joel Esteban shuffled back to 6th after a breathless last lap.
It truly was breathless, wasn't it, Chris? Rico Salmela doing incredibly well after that long lap penalty to come through and fight his way back through what looked like a very, very difficult pack, and did so well to seal P4. Absolutely incredible from the Finn. What a race 1. Now we'll have to wait and see what he can do in race 2 as well, but he's shown that he's capable of keeping up with the likes of David Gonzalez, Joel Esteban and Adrian Cruces. What a performance.
A wheelie then for Jesus Rios as he celebrates another podium. That's a 4th podium of the season. Indeed, it's a 5th, including his victory in Barcelona last time out. It's a 2nd, 3rd place, P3 in Jerez race 1. There have been a couple of P2s coming his way in Jerez as well as in Misano. Victory last time in Barcelona for Jesus Rios, and now he's got P3 as he very much enters the fray for that bronze medal. Rico Salmela will hold on to it going into race 2 after all that late drama, but Rios does close up on him as Joel Esteban loses a little bit of ground back in P6. Casey O'Gorman, of course, was also in the reckoning for a top 3 finish, but unfortunately the Estrella Galicia rider had to retire with a mechanical issue by the looks of things. Brian Uriarte showing the class of a champion, that has to be said. Perhaps not at his imperious best, as we've seen him many times this year. Uriarte dogged it out, toughed it out, with Jesus Rios pinched silver medal for Valencia race 1 on the line with just 9 thousandths of a second. You could have thrown a blanket over them. But what about this young rider here? The number 97, Marco Morelli, goes back to back. Race 2 winner in Barcelona, race 1 winner here in Valencia. He will be looking to do 3 in a row, and it would take a brave person to bet against him, because he was utterly sensational. He has been all weekend. We mentioned it before the race. He had half a second to spare in qualifying. He was quicker than the Moto3 World Championship guys. There we go, the celebration. He was quicker than the Moto3 World Championship front row last weekend in qualifying yesterday, as were Uriarte and Rios in qualifying. But sensational stuff from Marco Morelli. Let's take a listen in.
Has cortado un poco, ¿no? Al final. No he llegado aún.
Good to see plenty of fans out in attendance as well here at the season finale. 1 week on from the MotoGP season finale as well. As we see the live championship there, and confirmation then that Uriarte 219 points, but Morelli extends his advantage out to 23 points. So he hasn't wrapped up the silver medal just yet, but I think it's fair to say there's one hand and 4 fingers on it. The top 14 finish will see him take the silver medal in the 2025 Junior GP Championship, as battle for bronze is well and truly alive. Jesus Rios all smiles then. Another brilliant outing from the young Spaniard, who picks up a podium before his move to the Snipers team in 2026 in the Moto3 World Championship. We will, of course, hear from Marco Morelli very shortly, once he is done debriefing with the Grid M Lab team. Here are some of the key moments then from the opening race of the day. Brian Uriarte firing it up the inside of Jesus Rios, and this is the photo finish. Look how close this is. Oh, 9,000ths of a second. That's what that looks like. Absolutely sensational stuff from those two riders, while Rico Salmela, has to be mentioned, a superb ride. May not have got any silverware in race 1, but he came through the long lap penalty and battled his way back to P4. So he holds on to P3 in the championship for the time being. So without any further ado, race 1 belongs to Marco Morelli, and we can hear from the Argentinian now. He's down with Connor.
That's right, Chris. Marco, you were absolutely incredible yesterday sealing pole, and today you've shown us just how brilliant you are again. How does it feel to take this win?
Yeah, I feel amazing. We did a fantastic job yesterday. It's true, we did a super lap in the qualifying, but from all the weekend we had a good pace. I feel quite strong with the bike. It just comes easy now, and this is the good thing. I don't need to push as hard as sometimes I did. So when you are in this situation, it's quite easy to go fast, no? And today in the race, I tried to do a good start. I did it. I arrived first on the first corner, and I can do all my pace during all the race. And yeah, we take the victory. I'm super happy. Thank you for the team, and finish like this is super nice, because as I say, this weekend is my last 2 races with them, with MLab Junior team, and I only remember all the great things we had together. So yeah, one more, and let's see if we can do the same. Thank you.
Ayer hiciste una quali impresionante y hoy has hecho una carrera, la primera carrera del día, que también ha sido fenomenal. ¿Cómo te encuentras después de habernos enseñado todo eso?
No, muy contento. La carrera fue muy complicada, pero por ir solo, al final había un poco de viento, era un poquito difícil en el primer sector, pero nada, me supe adaptar bien, hice una buena salida y me pude escapar y tirar, hacer mis ritmos desde el principio, y súper contento, la verdad. Nada, disfrutar estos momentos que son mis últimas 2 carreras con este equipo, y la verdad que siempre los llevaré en el corazón y estaré eternamente agradecido por todo lo que han hecho por mí.
Congratulations.
It was perfection from pole for Marco Morelli in the Junior GP Race 1 from Valencia. The Argentinian started P1 on the grid, got the perfect launch, and opened up a significant gap on the opening and following laps over Brian Uriarte and Jesus Rios. Uriarte and Rios went wheel to wheel across the race in the battle for second, while a little bit further back the likes of David Gonzalez, Rico Salmela, Joel Esteban, Adrian Cruces battled for fourth as Christian Daniel Jr. crashed out of contention. Jesus Rios then moving ahead of Brian Uriarte, but every time Rios tried to make a move, Uriarte had the answer, particularly at turn 1. An interesting eye was cast then on P4, that battle having significant consequences in the medal positions battle. Rico Salmela was running fourth, had to go through the long lap penalty, but quickly began working his way through the field again. Leonardo Zani there, the number 57, powerless to resist the flying Finn. David Gonzalez led this group with Joel Esteban and Adrian Cruces for a period, as Uriarte and Jesus Rios just kept going at it in that battle for P2. And again, Esteban was doing much of the front running in P4, but Rico Salmela closed up the gap on the final 2 laps, getting ahead of Cruces, then striking late on both David Gonzalez and Joel Esteban to fire himself into 4th position. The battle for P2 raged on across the course of the final lap as the number 97 Marco Morelli romped home to victory. Brian Uriarte did win that battle for second by 9,000ths of a second. Rico Salmela in 4th.
Junior GP, donde el equipo ganador ha sido el Grid M-Lab Racing, representado por Ben Baxter.
Podium celebrations time. Ben Baxter of the M-Lab Racing squad, the team representative of Marco Morelli. Jesus Rios first out to pick up P3, his P3 medal. Brian Uriarte second, his 4th second place of the campaign, almost matching his wins total. 5 wins and 4 P2s for Uriarte. Marco Morelli then picking up his 3rd victory of the campaign.
Don Nicolás Collado, director del circuito, entregará el trofeo al tercer clasificado, Jesús Ríos.
The first of 2 races, of course, today, but what a moment for all these 3 riders who bid farewell to the Junior GP category as they set off on new ventures in the Moto3 World Championship stage. 3 unbelievable talents leaving the Junior GP category, it has to be said.
Entregará el trofeo al vencedor de la carrera Junior GP, Marco Morelli.
And finally, the gold trophy for Marco Morelli, handed out by a rider who knows a thing or two about winning world championships. David Alonso in attendance here this weekend, the Moto3 World Champion. Now, of course, riding in Moto2, picked up a couple of wins. A wonderful rendition then of Himno Nacional Argentino, played once again on the podium here, as that is a flawless execution from Marco Morelli in the race, and of course of opening the Prosecco there. Brilliant stuff, Connor, it has to be said, from Marco Morelli. Untouchable in race 1, and he's going to be very difficult to beat in race 2.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the 3rd time we've heard it in the last 6 races for the Argentine national anthem, so absolutely sensational from Marco Morelli.
I think we need to start learning the words.
a 6-second gap there between riders of the caliber of Uriarte and Rios as well.
Yeah, I think we need to brush up on our South American. Enzo Bellon, Dodo Baggio complete point scorers as Cupozzo, Monagnane and just miss out on a top 15. As does Kiata Stack, Singapong, Lennox Pomara, Leonardo Abruzzo, Lucas Brown, Eric Michelon, Marianos Nicolis, Kevin Farkas and Kotaro Ushiumu among the finishers here in race 1. Hazard, Cesare Tiesi, Edu Bertala, Randy Truchot and Loris Skonrock. Casey O'Gorman, Christian Daniel Jr. and Leo Ramesdorfer all retiring from the race.
And that means that the Riders' Championship is shaping up like this. Brian Uriarte with his unassailable lead, of course, followed by Marco Morelli and Rico Salmela. Currently P4, Joel Esteban. P5, Jesus Rios, who moves up 1 spot. Casey O'Gorman moves down to 6th. Leonardo Zani 7th. Hakim Danish 8th. And Dab Gonzalez currently 9th. Then it's Veda Pratama in 10th. In P11, Zen Mitani drops down 2 spots. Giulio Pugliese in 12th. Leo Ramesdorfer 13th. Evan Belford 14th. Sullivan Mounsey 15th. Dodo Boggio in P16. And Leonardo Abruzzo 17th for the time being. Peña Fernandez 18th. Paul Sina 19th. 20th, Adrian Cruces, who moves up 5 spots there with his performance today. Lennox Famara 21st, Monagnane 22nd, Singapong 23rd, Enzo Bellon 24th, and Michelon 25th. Nicolis in 26th, Lucas Brown 27th, and Kevin Farkas 28th.
Race 1 in Valencia then belongs to the Argentinian star in the making, the number 97, Marco Morelli, converts pole to victory here in Spain. A superb performance. Can he do it again in race 2 later today? Or will the likes of Brian Uriarte, Jesus Rios have a say in the victory fight? Well, make sure you tune in a little bit later. We'll also have plenty more title deciders to come during the day. Next up is the European Talent Cup in about 2 minutes' time. We'll see you then. The next generation of racing talent returns to the tarmac for one final showdown, 15 laps to decide the 2025 European Talent Cup champion. Just a week after MotoGP curtain fell, Valencia once again takes centre stage, hosting another title-deciding finale at the iconic Circuit Ricardo Tormo. On a crisp November morning, the anti-clockwise 14-corner layout offers a fresh test for the stars of tomorrow, a technical rhythm-based circuit that rewards bravery as much as precision. The cool air hangs over the track, but the action itself is set to burn hot as Carlos Cano and Fernando Bojosa prepare to battle for the crown. Just 11 points separate the duo as they line up for lights out. Momentum, pressure, nerves, raw talent, it all comes down to this. Last time out, though, Barcelona played host to just the single European Talent Cup race. Carlos Cano started from pole, but it was Lorenzo Pratelli who got the better launch. Title contender Fernando Bojosa served a back-of-the-grid penalty, but quickly began carving through the field as Anton Nativi crashed out early. Bojosa continued his charge, while Evan Boxberger and Afonso Almeida also slid into the gravel. Bojosa soon reeled in title rival Cano, even passing the pole sitter to move into the podium places, but the Spaniard still had a long lap penalty to serve and nearly lost the front while taking it. He kept it upright only for disaster to strike shortly after, crashing at turn 7. Cano looked to capitalise, and Pratelli, who had led most of the race, crashed out after a collision with Mikey Luis Sanchez. In classic ETC fashion, though, the final lap became a scramble. Cano led out of the final corner, but it was Ramadhipa who launched a late charge, snatching victory by just 7 thousandths of a second. That was a maiden win for the Indonesian. Cano did secure second and Alvaro Lucas completed the podium. Cano, though, securing 20 crucial points as we come into the title decider here in the European Talent Cup. Those 20 points, I should say, hand him an 11-point advantage over Fernando Bojosa. So a costly DNF from Bojosa. Welcome to Circuit Ricardo Tormo. 14 degrees air temperature, 17 degrees Celsius on track. A lovely day for racing in November, it has to be said. I am Chris Jordan, and joining me as always is Connor Doherty for the title decider here in the south of Spain. I think we can call it the south of Spain, southeast of Spain maybe, Connor, but I'm very much looking forward to this one. Two riders who have been the standout stars of this year's campaign, and it all comes down to this.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. A real pleasure to be here with you here in Valencia. I think southeast is probably more appropriate than south, especially when we've got racing in Jerez to enjoy in the real south.
Southwest.
Yeah, but as you say, it's going to be absolutely sensational here in this season decider. It's the curtain closer as well. So we're in for a real treat here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is Fernando Bojosa who will start from pole position. Let's hear what he has to say on his performance.
My first pole position in my career. I'm so happy. I make a perfect lap, incredible, and I feel very confident all the weekend with the bike, with the team. I worked really hard this season for being here, and now tomorrow we'll fight for the win and improve race to race. Tomorrow we have to think because I need to cut a little bit of points for beat the championship. I have a plan with my teammates and well, tomorrow we'll see.
A 1:48.99 then from Bojosa sees him start from pole position for the first time in his career, and what a time to do it from the young Spaniard. 11 points down in the championship. Carlos Cano, the reigning champion, holds the advantage and starts P2, but Bojosa did strike a blow, coming top of his qualifying group. 3 wins this season, 6 podiums in total. So just to run you very quickly through the permutations. So it's an 11-point advantage for Cano. So if Cano finishes on the podium, regardless of where Fernando Bojosa finishes, Cano will win the title. If Cano finishes P4 to P6, Fernando Bojosa must win. If it is P7 to P11 for Cano, Bojosa needs a top 2, while P12 to P15, Bojosa needs a podium. That took me longer than I care to admit. And I hope it's correct, but I believe it is. There is also a tiebreak in play, as both riders have 3 wins. Cano has got 3 P2s and Bojosa has 2 P2s. So if the situation arises that Bahosa comes second and Cano is in 7th, for example, then it goes to a tiebreak of P3s. Who's going to win it, Connor? If it goes to that tiebreak, it's 1-0 Bahosa on the P3 count, so it will go to Bahosa.
As far as I'm concerned, you're the winner here because you've clearly spent all night looking up the rules and regs of the European Talent Cup. Yeah. And
it certainly
I take my hat off to you, Chris. That is some honest work.
Yes, thankfully you don't need to actually rely on my mathematics during the race because we will have the live graphic standings. But those are the situations. It did take me longer than I care to admit, I have to say that, Connor.
We did just see the rider starting from P3 there, Alvaro Lucas, who is also a winner this season in the ETC. Did get that first win in race 1 in Jerez, and has been very much one to watch as well, as has Alex Longarella.
Yeah, Alvaro Lucas, just to touch on him very quickly, a rookie in the class. He's came out swinging double P4 first time out, took a win then in Jerez, a couple of podiums then in Magny Corps, and bar a couple of DNFs, he's been inside the top 5 nearly every race, top 4 even every race, and won P7 of course back in Mezzano. So sitting 5th in the championship, he'll be looking to catch Keandre Ramadhipa. He's 7 points behind Ramadhipa in the bronze medal chase. Ramadhipa himself actually has a outside chance of catching Fernando Bahosa for second in this race. He is, what is he, 15 points behind. So
we did just see Yaroslav Karpushin there as well. Been on the podium 3 times so far this year, and a real surprise package, I think it's fair to say.
A real live wire, it has to be said, for Karpushin, because 3 P3s, and with the exception of the last one, the first 2 came when he was starting, I think, very deep on the grid. P18, I think it was, and P23 off the top of my head. 18th on the grid in Jerez, yes, and in Magny Corps, P23 on the grid. So the definition of a Sunday rider, I think it's fair to say. Of course, that 3rd podium, he started a little further up onto the grid. So one to watch, starting on that 2nd row today, in the middle of the 2nd row, as is Keandre Ramadhipa. Picked up his 2nd win last time out, just a few thousandths of a second between himself and Cano as it came over the line. Keandre Ramadhipa currently sits 3rd in the championship. So we are going to focus chiefly on the battle between Bahosa and Cano for the title today, as we look at Travis Borg, the Maltese rider. But of course, 3rd in the championship needs to be decided as well. Keandre Ramadhipa still holds an outside shot of catching Fernando Bahosa in 2nd, as does Alex Longarella. However, Ramadhipa, the Indonesian rider, is sitting in 3rd at the moment, 3 points ahead of Longarella and 7 points ahead of Alvaro Lucas.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how that gets resolved here. 3 fantastic riders, all of whom would be worthy of a P3 finish in this 2025 season. They've all impressed, and it's really going to be very interesting to see what happens here in our sole race in the ETC in Valencia. We've seen a lot of fans over the course of the weekend as well, braving this November cold in the south.
It's not that cold.
It is quite cold, Chris.
It was a crisp weekend up until today, and as you can see, the sun is actually shining. It's quite nice out. However, it is cold in the evenings, I will give you that.
It was very cold yesterday, and to the extent at which qualifying was a very different state of affairs to what we're seeing today. It's much warmer out there on the track as well for our riders, so that's going to be a bit, it's something for them to get to grips with, if you'll pardon the pun there.
You are not pardoned. Yes, so just about 5 minutes to go until we see lights out in Krattelquill. Going from 10th on the grid is the German rider, part of that 72 Artbox team. Will the 72 Artbox team be celebrating later on? Will he be celebrating with his teammate Carlos Cano as he aims to take back-to-back European Talent Cup championships?
It would be quite a feat as well from Carlos Cano if he's capable of doing that. And it feels to me like last year it might have even been a bit easier for him this time around he's been pushed all the way, and credit to Bohosa for doing that as well. But Carlos Cano, a real talent for the future. Really quite spectacular. He has been throughout the season, and you'd have to hope that he's going to be mature enough to be able to control this race, do what he needs to do. He has to finish on the podium if he wants to secure, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that second ETC trophy.
Yeah, he's shown he can do it before, and he'll be looking to do it again. Of course, Bohosa himself is a phenomenally talented rider. Carlos Cano won it last season, beating Marco Morelli to the title. The year before that, Max Quiles was our European Talent Cup champion, his second European Talent Cup crown. Guido Pini the year before that. Both of those riders now making a name for themselves at the top level in the World Championship. Moto3 riders, particularly Quiles. David Alonso, of course, a European Talent Cup champion. Izan Guevara, Xavi Artigas, and Manu Gonzalez. So there is certainly pedigree that has come out of this championship, and recent winners have all gone on to make a name for themselves. Of course, one of those winners, David Alonso, is here in person.
Yeah, David Alonso here in person, and he is watching on as we see the starting grid. On row 1, Bohosa, Cano and Lucas. Row 2, Longarella, Capuchin and Ramadhipa. And on row 3, Borg, Nativi and Galan. Behind them on row 4, starting from P10, Krachok, Will, Perez and Gutierrez. Row 5, it's Almeida, Savino and Osorio. And on row 6, it's Cantos, Borelli and Sanchez. Starting from P19, Boxberger, B20, Pritelli, and B21, Ikegami. On row 8, we've got Matos, Sparks and San Juan. On row 9, it's Tessini, Cubeles and Galiunto. On row 10, Garcia, Serpa and Tamburini. Those last two coming through the ETC's last chance race this morning.
Almost set to go then here at Sirkuit. Ricardo Dormo is about to go off on the warm-up lap, led away by the AC Racing Team rider of Fernando Bohosa. Carlos Cano pulling up right alongside him there. I wonder if there's a little bit of mind games up there.
Would not be surprised if there were mind games between those two. Any edge could mean all the difference here in Valencia. And there we have confirmation of the temperature. 14 degrees out there, 17 on track. I think very rarely in this championship is a warm-up lap needed in name.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely need to get the Pirelli tyres nice and heated across the early laps. So around and around we go. Coming into turn 6 here, the famed Anga Nieto corner. So it's going to be a very interesting one. All eyes on the number 69 and the number 1 at Lights Out. ETC, it's going to be typical ETC fashion. Fundamentally, I think, looking at it, Fernando Bohosa has no option but to win. Unless something drastic happens to Carlos Cano, you just know Cano is going to be there and thereabouts. If Cano is on the podium, it is game over for Bohosa.
Yeah.
But if he opens the door ever so slightly and does not get that top 3 finish, Bohosa needs to win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of these two riders who are in with a chance of claiming the ETC crown are going to be looking to get away really, really well. They don't want to be dragged into any kind of battle further back. They need to be focusing on their own ride and ahead of the pack. That's going to be absolutely crucial here in Valencia.
Yeah, we've also seen it through the season. Both these riders are capable of breaking away from the pack, particularly Bohosa. I think it was Estoril, the opening race of the season, when he took the victory.
Cano ended up retiring in that race, I think,
yeah,
as well.
Bohosa broke away from the field and dominated. Race 2 then saw Cano and Bohosa go wheel to wheel, elbow to elbow over the finish line. Unfortunately, though, for Bohosa, he was disqualified later after post-race. That has proven costly now in the championship standings. Now, we are about to go racing here in the title decider for the European Talent Cup. Fernando Bajosa starts from pole position. A slight delay here as the red flag comes back out, but now all clear on the track. The safety car pulls up behind. The eyes are on the lights. And we are ready to go racing. In title decider Sunday, Bajosa gets a start. And he does tuck in front of Cano, but there's a long run down into turn 1. It could all change. Cano is tucked right in behind Bajosa. Alex Longarella then getting involved as well and drops Cano behind him. So Bajosa gets the perfect launch through turn 1. He leads. Cano is dropped back to 3rd position, but for how long? Not very long. Is it going to be? No, Cano was having a little luck up the inside of turn 2, but Alex Longarella now is P2. So dream start for Bajosa.
Yeah, Longarella got away really well, contrasting with Alvaro Lucas, who just found himself going backwards a bit, didn't get away well at all. And this is absolutely perfect for Bajosa. He's got a bit of a cushion now in the shape of Longarella.
He said it there after qualifying that he has a strategy in mind as Alex Longarella does go wide, but slots back into P2. And Alvaro Lucas now putting Cano under a little bit of pressure. But Bajosa said he has got a strategy with his team. What is that strategy going to be? Is he going to try and block up and slow the pace down as we've lost a rider at the back? That's the number 4 of Gabriel Tessini, who's gone out. So what is the strategy for Bajosa here, Connor? Does he slow the pace down and try and get a big lead group and bunch up on Carlos Cano, or does he just try and break away and take the win? Well, it looks like he's just going to try and break away.
I was just going to say, he set the fastest time in Sector 2 and Sector 3 there already, so very much looks like his plan is to break away as soon as possible. And now he's got 2 riders between himself and his title rival as Alvaro Lucas pulls through on Carlos Cano.
Yeah, so if you were to throw the checkered flag out after 1 lap, Carlos Cano is down in 4th position and Bajosa is leading the race. So as things stand, it's going the way of Bajosa.
Absolutely, Cano off the podium as well.
I know, but we are very early days here in what will be undoubtedly an absolutely thrilling European Talent Cup race. It always is, Connor, it never disappoints. But Bajosa has got the dream opening lap. He is leading, and there are now a couple of riders who've slotted in between him and Carlos Cano. Just having a look to see where Edu Gutierrez is, one of the AC Racing Team riders. He's a little bit further back. So yes, he gets a little bit of a move on. Edu Gutierrez down to P15 at the moment, yeah.
Well, the 2 riders between Bajosa and Cano, we were singing their praises. Look at the grid, Longarella and Alvaro Lucas. Both a single win so far this season. Yes, they've been on the podium more than once. They're not going to be easy for Cano to pass at all. We were saying how important it would be to get away well, and Cano simply has. But a rider of his caliber is more than capable. As difficult a track as Valencia is to overtake on, he is a rider who's capable of doing it. But there do seem to be a few bike lengths between him and Alvaro Lucas there.
Yeah, a long way to go, yes, in this race. We're just coming off lap 2. Cano by no means is going to be hitting the panic button just yet. I'm sure he'll actually be quite content with his position just behind the podium trio.
He's coming under threat from Caboose there.
Yeah, Alex Longarella then moves into the lead as Alvaro Lucas pulls up alongside Bajosa, and there you have it. They can all change in the blink of an eye. A reminder of how quickly things can change here as Alex Longarella runs it wide, opening the door for Bajosa and Alvaro Lucas, and it's going to be Bajosa who reclaims the lead. So I would have to imagine this is a lead group of 5. Carlos Cano will be relatively content. He just needs to be in and around this group until the end. As things stand, you see it there, Bajosa would win by a single point. So at this race, if this is our lead group, Bajosa simply must win.
A single point in it.
Yeah, simply must win. Cano has to get onto the podium to guarantee the title. If he is P4 or below, of course, mutations in play.
Currently a gap of around the second between this lead group and the riders behind. But after a fairly poor opening couple of laps from Ramadhipa, he has now moved to the front of the chasing group and is trying to narrow that gap. You can just see there that he's getting closer.
Yeah, and if they
bringing them back into play.
Yeah, if they keep chopping and changing here, which naturally they will do, you would have to imagine that Ramadhipa has the pace to make this a larger group fight for the victory and for the podium as well. Some nervous looking faces down in the 72 Artbox team. Yeah. They've already celebrated one title in the Junior GP Championship in 2025. That, of course, was Brian Uriarte romping home to the Junior GP and Rookies Cup double. 72 Artbox now are chasing another title here today. Can their reigning champion Carlos Cano produce the goods? He's having a calm and composed ride, it has to be said so far. Of course, he is in P4. I think, you know, he will be very happy to remain here until the final corner and then make a late lunge for those podium places.
Talking about lunges there, Alvaro Lucas on the inside of Alex Longarella. Absolutely sensational stuff. Have to remember as well that these two are fighting for the third spot in the ETC this year.
Yeah,
everything to play for here. Drama
is
all over the place.
Three, as I've said, the number 46, of course, the number 46 famed in motorsport racing. For obvious reasons, I believe, Connor.
I think we're if you the grid there,
if you were donning the number 46, you need to have a little bit about you, I think, particularly here where you can see the face of Valentino Rossi watching down.
There does go Cano into a podium position there, into P3 as we go through turn 1 Ashbar corner.
Bohosa diving up the inside then of Cano coming through turn 2.
Yeah, this is getting very, very close indeed. In this lead pack, they are beginning to chop and change, and now it is Alvaro Lucas who leads from Bohosa, and Cano, who now is on the podium and would, in this situation, secure his second consecutive ETC title. And there goes Lucas, round turn 6. Absolutely fantastic stuff. As his team watch on.
Of course, they are in that battle for bronze, but they would love a victory to cap off the 2025 campaign. What has been a really stellar campaign, it has to be said, for Alvaro Lucas. Another gem of a talent from the CF Moto Aspar Academy.
Cano now off the podium positions as well, but it would require Bohosa to overtake Lucas if he were to claim the crown in this current situation. 11 laps to go. It's too early almost to talk about the championship, but I'm very pleased that our TV direction is leaving that live championship graphic up, because this could change at any point in time. The drama is palpable here.
It just goes to show you how close this championship is and has been all season. 11 points between the top two coming in to this race, but as you can see, it can all change in an instant. It's Alvaro Lucas, though, who's doing the front running as Bohosa comes under a little bit of pressure from Alex Longarella. Alex Longarella and Alvaro Lucas, we remind you, both chasing the bronze medal, have an outside shot, of course, of getting second place as well, should Bohosa pick up no points here today. But a long way to go in the championship yet, as Bohosa reclaims the lead, but for how long? Alvaro Lucas hangs it around the outside of turns 4 and 5, and that is why the Aspar Academy have got Alvaro Lucas in their team. That is just brilliant, brilliant racing on the outside. Unfortunately, coming through the Angel Nieto corner, he can't hold on to the position, and Bohosa has come back through. But Lucas is not going down here without a fight. He's got his nose back in front again, but he is hanging around the outside line. He's going to take something special from there to get ahead of Bohosa, and he just can't do it there. He's going to attack now from the inside. Is he? Nothing going. He does attack on the inside, but it's going to be Bohosa on the cutback. Bohosa looking there to open the door a little bit and then get him on the cutback, but it doesn't seem to have worked for the AC Racing team rider. And now Bohosa is doing the chasing once again.
A real flurry of blows there from Lucas. He was looking at every available opportunity, going around the outside, going around the inside, which is where it eventually worked for him. And he found his way through that. Absolutely spectacular stuff from Lucas. to forge his path ahead there.
Yeah,
now he does lead.
This five-rider fight that was across the opening laps has turned into a larger group. Kiandra Ramadhipa has brought a good 6 or 7 riders in his tow. So the likes of Ramadhipa, Borg, Osorio, Galan, Gonzalo Perez, Crataquil, Pertelli are all there. The impressive Lorenzo Pertelli, who's a part of that VR46 Academy, recently signed and was ever so impressive in the recent rounds. Unfortunately crashed out in Barcelona, but did much of the front running in that race.
Capuchin
charged from 12.
Capuchin's just got ahead of Carlos Cano there, who drops down to 5th. So that's potentially a concern for our reigning champion. As we look at these 3 fronters side by side, they go. Absolutely sensational riding from these 3.
So Bujosa doing the front running here as we go half where we were around lap corner 8, I should say, with 8.5 laps remaining. Fernando Bujosa doing the front running. This is exactly where Bujosa wants to be, but he has been coming under pressure from both Longarella and Alvaro Lucas in this race. Lucas most recently, but he has shuffled back down to 3rd position. Yaroslav Karpushin, then the number 70, is ahead of Carlos Cano, the reigning champion. Kiandra Ramadhipa, our winner last time out in Barcelona, hot on the heels of number 1.
Yeah, very much so. You mentioned it earlier, it could be concerning for Carlos Cano.
Yeah, Longarella, sorry to cut you off, Connor. Longarella up the inside at turn 14. So, Longarella, will he hold on to the lead coming through turn 1 then? So you can see how tight it is in that championship chase, and just one overtake of a position makes a world of difference in terms of the final standings. But we won't get too absorbed by that, as Kiandra Ramadhipa has a wobble out wide a little bit further back. Bujosa then at turn 2 coming steaming through once again. So we've seen that turn 2 has become a popular overtaking spot, as it always is in the ETC. But for Bujosa, he's made a couple moves there now.
A couple of moves that paid off.
Yeah,
I know you said we won't get focused too much on it, but as it stands, it is Bujosa who would take the ETC in 2025 by 3 points over Carlos Cano. 169 for the 69 as it stands. This is getting very, very exciting here in Valencia in this season finale. Carlos Cano now does overtake Capuchin to move into P4.
Yeah, Cano then just keeping it calm and steady. This is probably where he wants to be. If he can't lead the race out, if he can't break away from the rest of the pack, I'm sure he's pretty happy with things as they are. Very much in contention, as you quite rightly mentioned, at turn 11 there. Alvaro Lucas making a move on Alex Longarella, but his payback on the card for Longarella, not quite going through turn 12. So very, very tight here. There's what between the front 6 riders, there's only about a second, 6/10 of a second between them. As woof, look at that, diving from the inside there was that Alex Longarella, with a big move at the final corner to retake the lead here.
Ramadhipa's looking for a bit of slipstream there as well. He has managed to get ahead of Capuchin there. Ramadhipa coming in strong now.
Now here we
just
go.
behind Bujosa, who's now dropped down to P4.
Bujosa down to P4 and behind Carlos Cano, but for how long? Both of them went off the track there as Alex Longarella leads. Bujosa got the wider line on Cano, so nothing going for him through turn 2 and 3. Longarella ahead of Lucas. Does Lucas fancy an attack up the inside? Nothing going yet, but Bujosa certainly does. He gets the place back from Carlos Cano, but as things stand, it wouldn't be enough to finish P3 with Cano in P4. But Bujosa looking to get up the inside. Is that a 2-for-1 deal? It most certainly is. The number 69 suddenly back into the lead.
Yeah, Angel Nieto Corner's really giving us some absolutely fantastic moves.
Kiandra Ramadhipa taking the wider line there. It looked like he was going to mug them all off, coming through 7. What a move that would have been from the Indonesian rider, but he does shuffle back behind Cano. But it just goes to show the ambition of the number 32. He's got a taste for victory already in the European Talent Cup in 2024. Winner last time out in Barcelona. There was also a win back in Magny Core for the Indonesian, and he will be hoping to get himself among the top 3 and indeed challenge for the victory here once again. But it is Bujosa leading over Alvaro Lucas and Alex Longarella. That has been the story of the race so far, with Carlos Cano in 4th. the front three have been battling and changing places as they change places for P2 and P3 once again. Longarella this time and Alvaro Lucas. And while all this unfolds, it means the lead group don't break away from Carlos Cano, who seems just very content to sit in P4 for the time being.
For the time being, Bohosa there as well with a track limits warning. So that could prove quite important with the 6 laps that we have remaining then.
Yeah,
again, a few riders they very wide there.
Very tidy. He does lose the lead, but only momentarily as he strikes back at turn 2. You gotta keep it. You gotta stay off the green, Fernando. There's what, 5.5 laps, 5 3/4 laps going. Do not get yourself onto the green. A long lap penalty now would be devastating for your title chances.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's going to be throwing everything at it. I don't know if he's going to be too aware of that warning, given the focus he's going to be having to have in this battle with this originally leading 5. Now it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders involved.
Yeah, and just on that second group, we mentioned him earlier, Lorenzo Pretelli, the ever-impressive Italian. In the recent outings, he's joined the European Talent Cup. He's now at the head of the second group. So what is there between Pretelli and Karpushin? About 1/10 to 2/10 of a second. Keep an eye on the number 67, as he is very much gaining on Karpushin, the Kyrgyzstani rider. So Pretelli is not out of this.
No, not at all. He started from P20 as well, so he's moved up 12 places so far. With 6 laps to go, absolutely not one to rule out whatever for a podium or something even more. You could definitely shuffle things up at the front and in the final standings of the ETC for 2025.
Yeah, Alvaro Lucas then leading over the line into turn 1, but will he lead out of it? He seems to have a couple bike lengths advantage. Well, he runs it very wide there, but he is still in the lead, but for how long? Turn 2, Fernando Bohosa strikes again.
Yeah, absolutely incredible from Bohosa. He's really delivering the performance that he needed to in this final race of the year. He's been leading for much of it, but he's not able to lead comfortably whatsoever. Surprisingly, the pressure isn't being put on him by Carlos, though it is very much Alvaro Lucas and Longarella who are doing Cano's dirty work for him.
Yeah, absolutely well put. It is bubbling over quite nicely as Bohosa runs onto the red there, but he's about to lose the position again, is he, from Alvaro Lucas, as Lucas shows him the front wheel, but nothing going for the rookie rider around turn 8. That time, Bohosa holds on to the lead. This is bubbling over very nicely, Connor, it has to be said. Bohosa is exactly where he wants to be. Cano is in a very promising position to attack, while the likes of Longarella and Alvaro Lucas, Chianti Ramadhipa all want to get involved in this as well. So I think we're set for a pretty grandstand finale to the 2025. To once again go through at turn 2, lightning striking, striking twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times now I think it is. He has made that move at turn 2 on either Longarella or Alvaro Lucas. There seems to be a little bit of a gap opening up then between Longarella, Ramadhipa in 4th position, with Carlos Cano just stuck in behind in Legion. Indeed, there's quite a big gap opened up with 3.5 laps to go. This is going excellently for Fernando Bohosa. He runs it wide once again coming out of turn 6, but he holds on to the advantage. What have you got, Carlos Cano? The pressure is very much on the reigning champion. He's got Ramadhipa, race winner, ahead of him. And what is that? 6, 7 bike lengths then to make up to the top 3. So this is big moment for Cano's title ambition.
Yeah, absolutely. What he's going to have to do now is manage that pressure. He is the reigning champion. There's a reason why. But he's got to show it now. He's got to demonstrate that he's got the maturity to deal with this situation that he's facing. The drama is palpable here. The excitement on pit lane. Absolutely incredible stuff with just over 3 laps to go. We're going round turn 14, the last, and we're onto the straight now. Can anyone take advantage of the slipstream here?
Lots of nervous faces down in the AC Racing Team pit boards, and it's Alvaro Lucas has gone back in front. Well, Alvaro Lucas has gone back in front, but guess what's coming up, Connor? It's going to be turn 2. It's Bohosa corner at this point. It's Doing corner. Let's rename it Bohosa corner. He's gone back up the inside, Fernando Bohosa, and this is big. This is very big because there are 2 3/4 laps remaining. It puts him back into the championship lead. He's under all sorts of pressure from both Alvaro Lucas and Alex Longarella, but most importantly not from Carlos Cano. But there's the door open for Carlos Cano. There's the door open. Is that the moment Cano now can reel in the top 3 ahead of him? Ganja Ramadhipa going in a little bit wide, but seems he's got him on the cutback. Cano under pressure here, under all sorts of pressure. Ramadhipa gone wide. But for how long?
Yeah, this is getting very, very
and
dramatic.
And here comes Pretelli. Pretelli is coming through now. Cano under all sorts of pressure.
Yeah, we said it. Watch out. He started from P20 on the grid. Pretelli now up to P6, 14 places, and he's really ruffling some feathers in this championship.
Oh, how are your nerves? There are nervous faces down the AC Racing Team box, down the 72 Art box team, up here in the commentary box as well. We are on the edge of our seats. Carlos Cano is running in 6th position. That means Fernando Bohosa, if he can get a victory here, Alvaro Lucas goes through for the lead though, but if Bohosa wins and Cano cannot get in to the top 3, Bohosa will be your European Talent Cup champion.
We are seeing though that Bohosa is capable of taking the lead at turn 2, but he seems to be losing it to Alvaro Lucas every single time on that last corner at turn number 14. Adrian Campos.
Someone's gone wide there.
Very, very dramatic.
Very, very wide and into the gravel there. I saw a bike flying off. I think is it Victor Cubeles. So it's from that group chasing behind the Carlos Cano group. So I thought momentarily it could have been one of our front runners, but it seems our front runners are still here. Fernando Bohosa is back in the lead. 1.5 laps remaining. Carlos Cano with Pretelli into Ramadhipa. It is. Oh, it is Ramadhipa who's gone out, and that is a big, big moment for Ramadhipa, and perhaps in the context of the championship, a big, big moment as one of Cano's rivals on track is gone. Does that open the door for him to get into P4 and perhaps catch Longarella or Bohosa or indeed Alvaro Lucas in this top 3? It's probably too much time. He's got Yaroslav Karpushin there now in 4th position.
It'd be very good to get another look at that crash as well, just to see exactly what happened there, because was there a bit of contact between Cano and Ramadhipa there? Ramadhipa as well had just moved up to P4 in the standings.
Yeah, Ramadhipa, a real thorn in the side of Carlos Cano in this race. It means now there is one less rider in this battle for 4th position and 5th position and 6th position, meaning it's likely Cano will have a top 6 finish, which means Bohosa must win. It's as simple as that now for Fernando Bohosa. Win or bust. He is currently in 2nd. Is he about to be dropped into 3rd position? Alex Longarella makes a move ahead of him on the last lap. On the last lap, turn 2 coming up. We've seen Bohosa do it so many times already in this race.
This time he's going to get 2 for 1.
He's got the 2 for 1 once again at turn 2. Absolutely sensational from the young Spaniard. The number 69 leads. The number 69 only had 10 corners remaining, and he could be the European Talent Cup champion.
10 corners and a single point between himself and Carlos Cano. There's 3 riders here leading this race, but they're chopping and they're changing at every available opportunity. We've seen Alvaro Lucas take the lead. We've seen Alex Longarella take the lead. But the lead is what Fernando Bohosa needs if he is to be crowned ETC champion. He's currently ahead. Are we going to see a move here from Alvaro Lucas? Not quite. It's still Bohosa. But for how long? We're just going through turn 8 now, heading into turn 9 and 10. And it's still Bohosa who leads in the race and in the championship.
Half a lap remaining here in the European Talent Cup season. Carlos Cano is just dropped to 5th position, but Bohosa still needs the victory. Bohosa leads coming into the final sector. Turn 12, nothing going for Alvaro Lucas. What about turn 13? It's all going to come down to 14, isn't it? Turn 14, the championship could be decided at the final corner of the final race in 2025. Longarella shoots up the inside. Longarella's made the move. Longarella looks like he might have the win, but Bohosa's got drive to the line. Alvaro Lucas is pulled up beside him, and it's not going to be for Fernando Bohosa. He is third position, and that means Carlos Cano is your European Talent Cup champion in 2025. Drama to the line in 2025. Fernando Bojosa, he led on the final lap. He got done at the final corner. Alex Longarella takes the win. Alvaro Lucas in second, but the celebrations are really down in the 72 Artbox team. He repeats what Max Quiles has done and becomes the two-time European Talent Cup champion, the first rider to go back-to-back. Sensational race, Connor.
Absolutely sensational race, and what good company Carlos Cano is keeping with Max Quiles. He's a real star for the future. You can see what it means. Deserved champion, but you've got to feel for Bojosa. What a race, what a performance he put in. And it was turn 14 time and time again that cost him. And that's going to be so frustrating because he was getting ahead. He was leading for the majority of that race. But Alvaro Lucas or Alex Longarella were just capable of edging ahead by the slightest of margins at the very last second. Talk about excitement, talk about drama, talk about the European Talent Cup, Chris.
Sensational stuff. We are just about catching our breath here in the commentary box because the European Talent Cup once again delivered another cracking race. But you have to feel for Fernando Bojosa. He did so well leading into the final corner. But Alex Longarella and Alvaro Lucas wanted to have their say. There is the number 69 disappointment. It's a podium finish on the final day, which will be scant consolation at this stage, I'm sure. Disappointment etched across the faces of the AC Racing team down in pit lane. But what a moment for Carlos Cano, the latest 72 Artbox star in the making, the latest talent from the endless conveyor belt of Spanish stars. But yeah, you can see disappointment under the helmet of the number 69. He was so close. He almost ran the perfect race. Alex Longarella then was the one to crush Bojosa's dream at the final corner, diving up the inside of the number 69 to run home to victory. Alvaro Lucas taking second, which means Carlos Cano is number 1 in 2024 and number 1 in 2025. The celebrations are in full flow below. Let's take a little listen in. Cano at the double then. P4 in the ETC finale. It opened the door for Fernando Bojosa. Bojosa just simply had to win, and it looked like he was. You can see the tears flowing. Devastation down in the AC Racing team. Despite the podium, he's fallen just agonizingly short of victory, and victory that would have handed him the European Talent Cup title in 2025. However, he can he can hold his head up high because he has had a sensational season, and he will have a very, very bright future if 2025 is anything to go by. You would have to expect Bojosa with nothing signed yet for 2026, but surely will be the apple of the eye for many junior GP teams, as will Carlos Cano. Cano, of course, back in European Talent Cup despite winning last season due to the age restrictions. But he does turn 16 in December, meaning he will take the step up next season. Alvaro Lucas, another Spanish talent then, the rookie rider, with an excellent outing here. Threatened the victory as much as Alex Longarella and Bojosa did, and was a thorn in the side of Bojosa all race, but has to settle for P2 in the end. And the disappointment clear to see for Fernando Bojosa. In the moment, he'll be feeling all sorts of emotions of disappointment, but I'm sure as the time passes, in a few days, he'll see the achievement he has made to come second in the European Talent Cup and to be so close to winning it against the reigning champion Carlos Cano, who is a big future ahead of him. And this is the winning move from Alex Longarella. Defensive line from Bojosa to try block out Alvaro Lucas, and that opened the door wide open for Alex Longarella. And then there was the drive to the line where Lucas pipped Bojosa by the number 1, who remains the number 1. What a bright future Carlos Cano has in front of him, and it has to be said, his racecraft during that race was absolutely excellent. Slotted into 4th position. It did open the door for Bojosa, but he kept it calm, neat and tidy. He did fall off the lead group towards the end and managed to get himself ahead of Karpushin as Ramadhipa crashed out of contention as well. And this is the only issue he has really had all day, Carlos Cano, needing to get a lift back to Parc Ferme. The marshals on hand as they do a stellar job down here in Valencia. How about this? A way to arrive in style in your crowning race. Waves to his fans as he is carried across on a chariot with his bike back towards Parc Ferme and pit lane. We will hear, of course, from the race winner very, very shortly. He'll be down with Connor, who has made his way down to Parc Ferme. We're just waiting on the final steps of the celebrations down in Parc Ferme, and the final pictures are being taken down below. Alex Longarella, the race winner, snatching victory away from Fernando Bojosa at the final corner, while Alvaro Lucas made a late charge at the line, but only 9,000ths of a second separated the duo. Only 7,000ths of a second separated our race winner Ramadhipa and Carlos Cano on the line in Barcelona, and only 9,000ths of a second today, this time around. The European Talent Cup then keeping up the proud tradition of extremely close racing. 2025 has seen a number of photo finishes already. As we see Carlos Cano coming across on his chariot in front of the commentary box, slowly getting around Parc Ferme. Perhaps not the patience he had, but I think it will matter very little. So we can hear from our race winner, Alex Longarella. He's
That's right, Chris, I'm with Alex. What a race. Last lap, last corner, and a photo finish. What a way to say goodbye.
The last lap is a crazy lap, and
Fernando Bojosa started on pole position in the title decider as Carlos Cano lined up alongside him. Gabriel Cecchini was an early faller. Bojosa did much of the front running, but Alex Longarella and Alvaro Lucas got themselves into a position to attack. It was a 5-way fight for the lead. Carlos Cano sitting in P4. Yaroslav Karpushin also part of the lead group. Fernando Bojosa came under all sorts of pressure from Lucas and Longarella throughout the race, but always had a response ready for them. He was desperate to win. Win was what he needed to take the title. Alex Longarella firing one up the inside there at the final corner, but once again Bojosa responded. Turn 2, a favourite overtaking hotspot of his, as was turn 6. Here was the final corner. Alex Longarella diving up the inside. Once again, Alvaro Lucas then diving up the inside of Alex Longarella as Cano got himself among the podium positions. Bojosa was shuffled off the top 3, but quickly went about working his way back towards the lead. Carlos Cano then settled in for 4th position as the top 3 broke away. Keandro Ramadhipa, Jaroslav Karpushin, a thorn in the side of the number 1 all race. Lorenzo Pertelli as well making a late charge. Keandro Ramadhipa crashing out late in the race, as well as the top 3 went toe to toe for victory. Bojosa had to win and he led going into the final corner, but Alex Longarella led coming out of it and over the line as Alvaro Lucas took 2nd and Bojosa took 3rd. Cano's 4th place finish was enough to crown him European Talent Cup champion in 2025.
El Sniper Ega's team representado por Alex Martínez Mas. El tercer clasificado ha sido Fernando Bojosa.
Time for the celebrations then on the podium. Fernando Bojosa missed out on the championship, but does take home P3 from the race in Valencia. Muted celebrations from the AC team racing rider. Aspar's Alvaro Lucas taking 2nd, with Alex Longarella taking victory.
Equipo ganador, el Sniper Ega's team representado por Alex Martínez Mas.
The team representative from the EGAX Snipers team handed his trophy as Bojosa gets his 3rd place trophy here in Valencia. Another trophy to add to his burgeoning collection as bigger and better things await him in his motorcycle racing career. The same can be said for Alvaro Lucas, the rookie of the class, who was ever so impressive in 2025. His 4th podium of the year, including a victory back in Jerez. And Alex Longarella gets his 2nd winner's trophy of the season, handed to him by David Almanza, the Moto3 World Championship rider with Leopard Racing.
El himno de España. Ese aplauso para los 3 pilotos. Ya será el momento de celebrarlo. En este caso con la gaseosa. Los pilotos de la European Talent Cup.
For our podium finishers here
No llevan el Prosecco.
in the European Talent Cup. As the bubbly water gets a little bit of a spray around. And a smile on the face, which is great to see for Fernando Bojosa as he takes another podium. A big future awaits all 3 of these riders, it has to be said. 2025, a year to remember for all of them. They may not have won the title, but they showed what they are all about. Picking up several wins and podiums between them. And no doubt Junior GP Moto3 teams will, of course, be keeping an eye on their progress over the coming years, as they most certainly will be with Carlos Cano, your 2-time European Talent Cup champion, back to back for Cano. So the 72 Artbox team all pile onto the podium places as Carlos Cano is crowned the back-to-back
Ahí
European
está,
Talent Cup
el logo
champion,
de
and what a
campeón.
talent he is, and what a year it has been for the team. That is 2 titles in the Junior GP World Championship. Brian Uriarte taking Junior GP honours. Carlos Cano now set to follow in his footsteps after back-to-back wins in the European Talent Cup, set for a move to Junior GP, and he will certainly be a rider to watch next season.
Vamos a ver las últimas fotos. Y vamos ya a disfrutarlo al box.
Celebrations in full flow on the podium here in Valencia, and why not? It is very well deserved. We will of course hear from Carlos Cano very, very shortly. Or indeed, we will hear from him on our social channels as Emilio Alzamora goes searching for a towel to dry himself off. So let's take a look through then the results from today's race. Victory, of course, going the way of Alex Longarella, with Alvaro Lucas 9,000ths of a second behind him, and Fernando Bojosa missing out on the win and the championship. But he does take home the 3rd place medal here in Valencia. Carlos Cano, P4 enough for him to seal the crown. Jaroslav Karpushin a top 5 finish, and Eco Osorio in 6th, with Borg, Critelli and Nativi all inside the top 10, as is Ignacio Galan. Oliver Cantos is P11, Christian Borelli in 12th, ahead of Mikey Lu Sanchez and Edu Gutierrez. Edu, Savino, Ethan Sparks and Matthias Tamburini then outside the podium places, the point scoring places I should say. Savino the final point scorer. Alfonso Almeida, Pedro Matos, Seiru Ikigami, Remy George San Juan, Evan Boxberger, Victor Kubeles and Ivan Serpa, the rest of our finishers here. In the season finale, Finn Cratoquil and Gonzalo Perez were both lapped, but did finish the race indeed. So your final standings for 2025. Confirmation that 168 points is enough for Carlos Cano to be champion once again. Fernando Bojosa misses out at the final corner but takes the silver medal, while Alex Longarella takes bronze. That late dash for victory, enough to beat Alvaro Lucas to the podium in the championship. Keandra Ramadhipa's late crash cost him. Then we go through Christian Borelli, 10th, Cratoquil, Gabrini, Pertelli, Nativi, Marolanda all inside the top 15. Galan, Osorio, 16th and 17th. Rodriguez, Gonzalo Perez, Fernandinez inside the top 20. Mikey Lu Sanchez, 21st. Dakugan, Sparks, Rostani, Tamburini all scoring points throughout the campaign, and we'll see more of them next season, no doubt, as they continue their development. The same can be said for David da Costa, Edu Savino, Remy George San Juan, Evan Boxberger, Oliver Cantos, Almeida, who's part of that Portuguese Miguel Oliveira Academy, Nikola Miroslavov and Yuri Van Krukten, while Vincenzo Di Veroli and Alberto Enriquez were the other point scorers from 2025. He may not have taken the win, he may not have won the battle, but he has won the war. The number 1, Carlos Cano, is on the top step of the championship podium once again. He goes back to back after a phenomenal European Talent Cup finale in Valencia. And indeed, we can actually hear from Carlos Cano, who is joining us late in the day. He's down with Connor.
That's right. I've just managed to hunt down Carlos after his celebrations back to back. You're a champion again in the European Talent Cup. How does it feel?
Yes, finally I get my goal. When I start the season, I I am super happy because the race was super difficult, the tire dropped a lot, and I tried to push a lot to cut the first group, but finally I get the champion, and I don't have words to describe this moment with the team. I do history 2 times on a round, win the European champion, and super happy. I thank people who support me, all my team, all my family. This is to help me all the season, and super happy.
Carlos, 2 veces campeón. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cuáles son las emociones después de una carrera como esta? ¿Cómo te encuentras ahora mismo?
Bueno, la verdad que ha sido increíble, ¿no? Al final he podido ganar el campeonato haciendo además historia que quedará escrito, 2 veces campeón de Europa seguidas, que no lo ha hecho nadie, así que súper contento de esto. Y también esto gracias al gran trabajo que he hecho con mi equipo, que ya sabíamos que este año iba a ser difícil porque he crecido bastante y el peso se ha notado encima de la moto, pero bueno, solo agradecer a todo mi equipo, a mi familia, que hemos trabajado también fuera de los circuitos muchísimo para conseguir el objetivo que teníamos a principio de temporada, y se lo quiero agradecer a ellos, y estoy súper contento y ahora a disfrutar.
Congratulations, well done, Carlos.
So Carlos Cano is your 2025 European Talent Cup champion. What a year it has been for him as he goes back to back, and a big future ahead of him. The day belongs to Carlos Cano. Just one race remains in the 2025 Moto2 European Championship season, and what a race it promises to be. After 10 brilliant rounds so far, it all comes down to the final day. Unai Oradre heads the standings with Milan Pavelich, Alberto Ferrandis and Alberto Sura, all hoping for some race 11 slip-ups. For the 2nd year in a row, the title will be decided on the final day. Will Oradre follow in the footsteps of recent champions like Roberto Garcia, Senna Aegis, Lucas Tulovic and Fermin Aldeguer? Or are we set for a dramatic last-minute turnaround? It is time to go racing in Valencia. Barcelona played host to 2 Moto2 races last time out, which saw title momentum swing one way and then another. Eric Fernandez started on pole and got the perfect start as Alberto Ferrandis and Milan Pavelich slotted in behind. Unai Oradre worked his way through the field, and the number 10 moved into the podium places shortly before Jung-Soo Kim retired from the action. Owen van Tricht also crashed out of contention, leaving him frustrated, but no such problems at the front for championship leader Oradre, who took over the lead of the race as Fernandez and Ferrandis battled for P2. The front 4 remained tight, but it was Oradre who took the win. Fernandez getting the better of Ferrandis for P2 and Pavelich in 4th. Race 2 saw the same riders in the fight for victory.